No, it's okay. Okay. Hello trainers all around the world, welcome back to Pokémon UNITE Asia Champions League for the Indian region. My name is Lucifer and today joining me on the desk is going to be Brudal. Brudal, how are you feeling? This is week 3 of the action of still the first stage where every team is giving it their all to become the first seed. What are your thoughts?
Well, Lucifer, thank you so much for the warm welcome as we begin with the week 3. Yes, I'm going to be really excited where we'll have all the trainers just grinding really hard in the arena to show what they're made of.
Yeah, they have to give it their all. They have been a little bit of a disappointment for some of the fans in week 1 and week 2 as we've seen the matches.
Yeah.
But again, this is still the league stage, the first stage where teams can lose and get back into the game. And none of them are getting eliminated. This is for every region. Right now, you're today seeing India region. Yesterday and day before, you did manage to see East Asia and Southeast Asia as well. So it's kind of a sum up of the entire Asia region right now. We are seeing like the best of the best coming up. And why are they all fighting for? To become the top 2 teams from their respective region. And what will they get? Yes, prize money of the stage 1 as well as they win it out, the league and then the playoff stage. But the main thing that they're going to be winning a chance to get to the land stage, that is Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, where they're going to be representing their region and looking forward to becoming the first champion of the Asia in 2023. But in case you have any questions about the tournament, there's a link right below on our screens that you can see. Click on that and you will be redirected so you get more information of every region. But Brudal, I want to ask you, now that we've seen week 1 and week 2, what are your thoughts? Week 3, are there going to be any comebacks?
Well, you know, talking about the whole weeks that we have seen up until now, like 2 weeks have been done and it's been a great journey for all of those teams. Quite really excited to see how the other teams will also perform, Lucifer, because as far as the teams are concerned, True Rippers have performed brilliantly against God's Reign. They had a 2-0 against them. And then when you talk about the journey of God's Reign, all the 2 matches that they've played until now, they have lost them. So both of them are going to be the teams which are, you know, have that caliber to be in the top, but then to be at the top, you need to perform when you're going for it. Well, now let's take a look over to, you know, what are the qualified teams from each and every region. To talk about the Indian region, we have God's Reign, Marcos Gaming, Revenant Esports, SATUL, and Team True Rippers.
Yeah. This is 5 teams from India, there are 5 teams from Southeast Asia and 5 from East Asia, making it 15 brilliant teams giving it their all. Eternity Hi-Fi, No Show, Secret Ship, T2 coming it, so Southeast Asia, HSK5, Renaissance, Rise and Secret Rare. So brilliant teams giving it their all, making sure they become the top 2 teams from their respective region, call themselves the champions of their particular region, and then it doesn't end there. Their journey is looking forward to becoming the Asia champion in 2023. The first Asia champion, looking forward to taking the crown in a storm where they're going to be defeating teams from different regions. And from there on, going a little bit further, another step to fight with the other teams on the bigger and the international stage. A quick sum up of the tournament schedule for anybody who's joining in new. You can see the first stage, which we did talk about. That's going to be the league stage where every team is going to be playing for positions, which we will talk about it. Then we'll go to the second stage where you're going to be seeing the playoff. But after that is the finals, which will happen all the way in March, brother. That is the land that we were talking about. That is the Malaysia land where every team, 2 teams from every region is going to be flying down and playing it right in front of each other.
Well, yes, Lucifer, to talk about the schedule for the day, we are going to see two of some amazing matches. One going to be between Revenant Esports and True Rippers, and then God's Reign against Marcos Gaming. For the next week, we do have True Rippers once again coming up, and Marcos Gaming also being there. Talk about the tournament format, Lucifer. Can you show some light on that?
Yeah, you can see it in front of screens. As I mentioned, anybody who's joining in new or who's already accustomed and is understanding of it, but quickly giving you a sum up. Right now, league stage, as I mentioned, all 3 regions will have their 5 teams in each fighting it out. No elimination. Then we jump to the second stage, which will be the playoff, where teams will fight it again, but in positions that they'll be placed based on the league stage of stage 1 that is happening right now, which we will jump to. And from there, the top 2 teams will then qualify to the bigger picture, which will no more be online. As you can see on the left hand side, it's going to be an offline. That is going to be the LAN match happening all the way at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I'm very excited for it, because these teams do deserve that big stage for themselves. Quickly also giving you a light on the prize pool. As you can see, $5,000 for the first team. This is again in the stage 2. Second team will be getting $2,500. Third place team, unfortunately, they'll be bidding goodbye, but still, for the efforts that they've put in, they'll get $1,000 as spoils.
Well, yes, exactly. And to talk about the finals, the stage, to be presented in Malaysia, the first placing team will be having $30,000 in their half. Then to talk about the second place, they would be having $15,000. The third place, say $500. For the fourth place, you have $5,000. For fifth, and for the next fifth team, it would be $1,500 each.
I'm super excited to see what's going to be happening now in the league stage. Then when we head over to the second stage, which will be playoffs, and then last but not least, the finals, where top 6 teams, right, top 6 teams of Asia are going to be fighting against each other, giving it their all. And that's what I'm excited for. Like, what are they going to be bringing now? Also, one more perspective that I'm thinking about, Rudul, throughout the weeks is week 1 we saw where initially the teams which could not play here in the Indian region came up like a desert storm, wiped the others off the board, took those initial points and showed us, oh, these teams are cooking up some strategies. And in week 2, we thought the same team will do a lot. And then when we see there are other teams which have taken that week's gap to study their opponents and have come back stronger. Now week 3, it can happen again, back and forth. But before that, quickly jumping into the tournament rules as well. All of these have been explained. It is going to be Thea Skyro. It's a 10-minute match, best of 3. It's a 5v5 that we are going to be seeing. No limits on any items or the level. It will be all max. No restrictions on the Pokemons, except for the Pokemons which are banned.
Yeah, exactly, and only the Pokemons which are there in the draft mode. And when you talk about the Pokemon support medal, there is going to be no limit or no rarity limit, it seems. Well, yes, these are going to be the tournament rules we talk about, but then Lucifer, as far as the Asia Champions League is concerned, it is a lot of stages that these teams are going to go through. And then beginning from stage 1, where they have played 1 or 2 matches that they've got up until now, even if you lose, if you get 1 round, in the 3 rounds that they play, they might be able to pick up a point on that. So not giving up and just hoping to just perform, that is what competition is about. Well, now talking about the draft mode, this is going to be the draft mode present in front of you.
Again, I'm pretty sure all the trainers who are watching right now are familiar with this when they've played in tournaments. In general, ranked matches, you do not have the ban phase. Generally, just pick your Pokemon that you like. But here, because these teams have an idea about each other, especially of how they play, on some crucial players who pick up the range attackers, maybe the all-rounders coming through, they ban that specific Pokemon, making sure that the entire team has to switch to a strategy where we always call about it Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, D, and all the alphabets that is there in the English alphabet is what every team needs to use. And that's what makes things interesting here, Mridul, that you cannot stick on to like, this is our meta that we like, and that's the reason we are seeing that even Hoopas, which were kind of out of the meta, or if you talk about last year meta, was also coming back here. But right now, we'll quickly jump into the highlights of the previous week. Take a glimpse.
我觉得有可能是待会团战的关键。哎，听到没有？一个人冲进去，冲过头喽，被逮到，冲进去，疯狂输出，但打着2分半，这个时候招式扣一下吧。如果交太多招的话，
序盤戦で KO された D2 のメンバーたちがレックーザのピットに駆けつける。
アジンユナイトあります。
どうだ、ラストヒット、飛んでる。ルインの運がチームを救った。
ท่านจะล้าจังหวะสุดท้าย
อะไรครับดูโดริโอ
พุ่งมาแล้วโอ้โหไม่ทัน
สู้
ครับ
ได้ครับ
สู้ได้ไปนี่ครับถึงคะแนนจะน้ำแต่จากการได้หรือเปล่าครับ
แต่นี่คือเขาไม่มีเกาะจากโคซ่าเลยครับ
ใช่ครับเกาะกำลังจะหมดครับ
หมดครับอ้าวยังไง
Could be what sets things up here for Rise. They only managed to connect onto Yemu so far, but look at this, Yellow and Ninetales in the middle of the fight. And that looks like that might just be it. Rise losing 2 of their big damage dealers. It's going to be down to Dodrio, Eldegoss and Snorlax, but no, the Snorlax is going to be going down.
This can be the game changer, but Volk, he was targeted. Look at how low he's taken, but Kyurem is still there, going to be healing him up, but the Delphox still trying to find a way. Rayquaza in the meantime has been drained to half of the health. This is going to be super crucial. True Rippers need to pay attention. Majority of the players get sent back to their bases, and with just 20% of the health, it looks like this is a deal sealed for none other than Marcos Gaming. Godsrain, they're trying to find a way to get back into the game. A big use of that confusion, which does damage to 3 Pokemon, and now they're trying to fight back into the game. They do have the Blissey. The Blissey has already used their Unite, unfortunately, but there is a Unite on the Mew, as well as Lucario and Scyther if you want to talk about. They've initiated the fight, 30 seconds to go. Nox is super low. This is a chance. Tencent used his Unite, because of which they delivered a knockout, and Lucario is also down. Divine is back into the game, but he's again super low. In the meantime, Omen trying to go in with a wing beat, but he is only alone over there. If he tries, he will also be knocked out. He tried to run away, and it looks like Rayquaza is going to be going in the favor of none other than...
Delphox isn't here. He's going to be slow. And Ribongs, he gets taken out. Mew about to get taken out as well. Will be using his boosted attack. He will go down though to Necro. And look at this. The Scyther cutting through Yank as well. Oh my goodness, Rise. They are rising. Their power is going up. And there's nothing Froggy can do about it.
That was already an epic showdown which is going down. I don't know how much more we can take, as well as the players themselves, because throughout the weeks it is a very tough journey. Now, when we generally see just one region fighting it out, you have numerous teams, and at the end of the day there is a stop for you, but here there is no stop. Right now you might become the champion of India region in Asia Champions League, but after that you have to represent yourself and that region on the international stage, and that's what you can see. The performances are just getting better day in and day out here, Vidal.
Well, yes, to talk about the performances and how these teams have performed, Lucifer, it's been so much great for them. But then, you know, we need to have our eyes on the league table too. How much they have performed for themselves, what are the matches that they have won up until now. To talk about God's Reign, not a good journey for them until now. They have played a match against True Rippers, and then SATL, they have lost it by 0-2. Then to talk about True Rippers, yes, they have got one victory against God's Reign that they had, and then they lost against Marcos Gaming, but they still had one game against them. Revenant played one, they have got one victory. To talk about SATL, yes, they have played 2 of the matches where they have got one against God's Reign but lost against Revenant Esports. And then we have Marcos Gaming. They have got one game, but in that game they lost one round to True Rippers. Not mattering a lot, Lucifer, because they still would be having 3 points for themselves. But then God's Reign, remaining with only 2 matches for them, one against Revenant and one against Marcos Gaming, they need to buckle up with their performances.
I'm worried. I agree with you. It's going to be a tough one for Godsrin to get back, especially in the second stage seeding.
Correct.
If they don't start getting points right now, maximum that too, if they win, they'll be getting 6 points in total, and I don't think that will be pushing them far. But for viewers, if you're just wondering what is finals as well as the first seed, whichever team places themselves in the first seed in stage 1 or league stage will be qualifying into the finals and also booking themselves a chance to jump to LAN in Malaysia, whereas the other is going to be decided between the second seed and winner of day 6, which is basically the match between the third seed and the winner of 4th and 5th seed match. So this is going to be interesting. This is how the teams will be placed based on their rankings in stage 1. So it's going to be very crucial for every team. It might not be elimination, but it is kind of a, I would say, decision or fate that they are writing for themselves for early elimination in the tournament, or making sure there is a very difficult issue that they have to work around with multiple matches to play. But right now, the match on our hands for starting off day 3, if you want to say, or week 3's match is going to be Revenant versus True Rippers, and on Revenant's end it's going to be Blizzard, Nova, Crowley, Swifty and Z-Shawl, and True Rippers end it's going to be Daksh, Devesh, Ego, Safe and Kyo.
Yes, these are going to be the two teams we talk about, Lucifer. On the side of Revenant, you do have Blizzard, Crowley and Swifty. We have seen a lot of times performing for the team as a supporter. But when you talk about True Rippers, right? True Rippers, it's been a great journey for them until now. You know, the performances that they've shown against God's Reign, it was a 2-0. And they've also got one round against Marcos Gaming. So we expect a lot from their side. But then when you talk about Revenant, it's all about destruction. We have seen how they have performed in the Indian region until now.
Right now, for our viewers, a quick trivia, which I'm pretty sure I love, and our viewers are also getting a gist of it. The Pokemon choices you can see, it's going to be, one is going to be a Wigglytuff, they're going to be seeing an Aegislash, but one thing that is interesting is their trivia. Loves cute cat videos and enjoys reading books. I'm a cat person, Z-Shawl, I relate to you, and I have fun. I think we do keep scrolling on a lot of cat videos and send it to each other. So I think I should start sending it to him as well soon.
Oh well, when you talk about Devesh here, loves to watch sitcoms during free time and loves to explore new cuisines across the world. So Devesh, I relate to you on your second one. I love food, man. I'm a foodie myself, and
Same.
That, you know, sometimes shows in my body structure. But then when you talk about the sitcoms, definitely would be agreeing on that too. So a great trivia about this trainer too.
Yeah, we have ideas about what your favorite trainers, players like to do, not only in terms of the Pokemons that they chose, but as you can see in free times or in general, to, I would say, wake their mind up, right? Sometimes you might be feeling a little bit low, especially during the matches itself. We talk about it. You have to find it reset. And I think for Z-Shawl, it's that simply watch a couple of cute cat videos and you get an immediate reset. On the other end, maybe a quick glimpse of a sitcom here coming in for Daksh. So I think these kind of things that we end up seeing from the players is going to be super crucial. I know it might kind of sound funny, but that does make their appetite as well to kind of get back into the game, and I'm looking forward to it. Right now it's going to be game 1, or you can say game 7 in total for the India region here in the league stage. But Bridal, what do you think? Revenant versus none other than True Rippers. True Rippers, who started off really well, but in their second game Marcos came back, but Revenant, they've played only one match and they've left crystal clear and flawless. Do you think they can keep up that run?
Well, I even stated that Revenant is going to be that team who is going to perform real good, but you cannot just, you know, talk about True Rippers in that way, because they have shown their caliber in the tournament. And when it's about consistency and the momentum forming up in a tournament, True Rippers have shown their caliber. Well, then we are going to go towards the ban phase, and in a matter of seconds, Lucifer, we will be having the Pokemons which are banned from each of the sides.
I think generally that these days we are seeing it's kind of Eldego's ban coming through, understanding of how much capability heal coming, and then there is either the all-rounder or a speedster ban coming through. Certain times, because Devesh is also here in the mix, maybe a ranged attacker can also be banned from Revenant to throw a stone to make sure that they have a tough situation. But it looks like Revenant are concentrating on a defender. Snorlax is out, there's no choice of picking that, but True Rippers on the other end, they're banning Urshifu.
Exactly, some good bans would be coming up here, as Urshifu is banned from the side of from the side of True Rippers, and Revenant would be banning Snorlax. So some Pokemon picks coming up from the side of True Rippers. We do have one Eldegoss and then a Dodrio coming from the side of Kyo.
Interesting. They understand Speedster is open for the choice. Let's immediately pick it up. But on the other end, to go and pack in heavy punches, I'm not too sure Blizzard will go to Scyther or will stick to Scyther. We'll look towards that. But on next, it's going to be a healer. In case not an Eldegoss, it's going to be none other than Blissey. And then we see a defender that they're like, okay, Snorlax is right now not a choice that we want to play with. You're going with slow, bro, where they want to slow literally the players of True Rippers. We'll look into it. But Crowley coming in as new is going to be troublesome for True Rippers. They have to look out for that. And to top it as an icing on the cake, it's going to be Nova on Lucario. Double punchers. Heavy hits that True Rippers need to be worried about.
Indeed, they have the Scyther and the amazing Lucario present with them. But then on the other side, you know, it's kind of a difficult situation forming up because they have a Ninetales coming up. So they wish there would be some changes in the final preparations phase. They might switch it up. But Daksh with the Mammoth, you know, Lucifer, what he has shown in the Pokemon UNITE India Open. And when they need to talk about the Asia Champions League, let's see what Daksh is up for.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued right now of what will happen. Like we mentioned about punchers, there's Ego on none other than Zarina. The queen, right? As well as her kicks coming through, you cannot easily dodge that. She has some heavy hits buckled up on her own, and as you mentioned, with Devesh on Ninetales, making use of the advantage of slowing the players down and immediately jumping on top of them, making sure they have a tough one. And in case things are not working out really well, there's Kyo on the Dodrio who can swoop in from any direction. As we start the match here between Revenant and True Rippers. Revenant, it's going to be the second game for them. True Rippers on the third. Let's see who bags this best of 3 in their favor.
Well, yes, we begin with some farming already started from the side of Team Revenant. We have our eyes on them, and as soon as they, you know, buckle up with the evolutions, that would be really good for them, because if they have evoluted first in the very first 3 minutes, then they would be having their eyes on the Regis.
Yeah, these starting 3 minutes is going to be very crucial in terms of kind of inclining in terms of your favor of at least the initial control of this battle. But I feel like irrespective of what happens, as you mentioned, the 3 minutes when you see when the Regis form on the top and the bottom, the bosses show up, games do take a turn. For now, initially it's still True Rippers looking in control, but we've known Revenant for their heavy bashes coming. So I'm looking forward to when that starts off and True Rippers needs to start getting pushed back, and it already happened. Starts off with Blizzard, Nova hits them back. Thankfully that their goal zone is nearby, they immediately go back, not let their Pokemon faint.
Well, a lot of damage being done from the side of Revenant, I must say. A lot of HP lost on the side of True Rippers, but no! Actually, it would be a KO streak coming up, and now the Lucario will also go down. A good KO streak from the side of Zarina, I must say. But then, G-Soul already available with the slow bro. OMG, the damage on Eldegoss is going to be a lot. And yes, Zeph with the Eldegoss is gonna go down. Knocked out, sent back to the base. Would be back in the battle in no time.
Devesh is also in a tough position. He has a berry to immediately eat up, but in the meantime there's Crowley that he needs to be worried about, and understanding that as soon as he sees Kyo, they're backing off. They're like, no, this is not a fight that we want to indulge in, especially with another third Pokemon also walking in. True Rippers have bottom lane control, but in the meantime Revenant are pushing up on the top lane, and I'm still looking forward to if there is finally a knockout that we end up seeing, and looks like they are intending towards it. They want to send these Pokemons back, but Kyo is here. But finally, it looks like one Pokemon was taken down, but in terms, Kyo also exchanges, and he is also sending a player back to their base.
Well, yes, exactly, and well, make it 2. You are not going to, you know, stop the KO streak coming up from the side of True Rippers, and it was just, you know, like a wait time of 5 or 10 seconds, and look at that. I was going to talk about how Revenant has still maintained the scoreline, but then there comes True Rippers, and now they are on 82 against 55 from Revenant.
True Rippers, their main, I would say, advantage is players unable to separate them, isolate them, and you can see taking that advantage. Ninetales should have been the first knockout, but it was not the case. It was the second knockout where Revenant got it. Revenant somehow they're able to get back in the game as they're taking top lane control, deliver a knockout, sent another player back, especially a very crucial one. The Queen is being sent back, but Daksh is still causing problems on the pillar spine. Swifty being a Blissey can take up damage, so therefore will survive, but the goal zone is destroyed. Something to be worried about, and therefore because of the goal zone destroyed, another knockout, and immediately on top of the knockout, Reggie was just spawned, immediately taken up and taken the attack advantage for themselves. The boost for now, and you can see they're targeting the bottom's goal zone, which will soon be destroyed. Kyo extend a little bit too much. He had 40 AOS energy. Thankfully, because of his speed, will be able to run away. And Revenant in the meantime, as one person runs away, they deliver 2 knockouts and send 2 Pokemons back to the base.
Well, yes, exactly, and with that, I must say that as soon as they got the Registeel on the bottom lane, not waiting for even a single second, 2 Rippers capitalized on that, Lucifer. Moving forward, 30 AOS energy would be adding to the scoreline from the side of Slowbro. But Swifty indeed at the top lane was struggling really hard against the Pillar-Swine. Now the Mammoth-Swine, Daksh is also available and waiting on the top lane for the players to arrive. Well then, some farming being done from the side of these players as Nova also is amongst them. 151 to the ratio of 137. The scoreline not having much of a difference. The Regiliki also goes in the hands of True Rippers. True Rippers are here up for a great performance. Meanwhile, the Regiliki moving towards the goal post. More and more points would be added.
Right now it's Revenant trying to just react to whatever True Rippers are doing. They have to have a proactive approach, and Daksh, he's the main leader right now. Unfortunately, a heavy move attack coming through, which does a lot in terms of damage, but players retreat in the right time, and now Revenant have fallen in a disaster, and therefore you can see one or the other player might get knocked out, but Scyther is here to save that. He delivers one, but Ninetales exchanges another, eliminates the Scyther itself, but Crowley, he's there, he's going to be using his ranged attack, making sure another place, but immediate exchange coming in. True Rippers want to regain control along with Serena coming in, delivering a 2 KO streak, and therefore Revenant, who thought they were slowly getting in control using their Unite moves, the thought of control has been destroyed, and True Rippers still leading the charge, but the goals that we are seeing, it's still stuck at 137 and 151. It's just the battles right now going back and forth, and as we talk about battles, it's a fight for Regirock right now. Looking forward to a steal with Kyo on the Dojo. Did not happen here, brother.
Well, yes, exactly, and look at that. You know, even after getting 2 Regis back to back, not able to get a lot of difference on the scoreline, and with that, the Mew would be actually adding more and more points for the side of Revenant. Meanwhile, when you talk about the Unite moves, not yet available for both of the sides, I think the Unite moves could have added a lot of difference to the score, and because then one side would be too dominant on the other one, but that doesn't happen when you have a team like Revenant or True Rippers. Whereas Lucario goes for another KO on Zarina this time, and there comes a revenge KO from the side of Ninetales. Sizer at the moment, yes, he would be taking down Mammoth-Swine and sent back to the base. Mammoth-Swine wants to be back in the battle as soon as possible. Ninetales adding 40 now. True Rippers is once again leading the charge.
Still Revenant are looking forward to coming closer and closer, but in the meantime they jumped upon Reggie, where True Rippers already steady, looking forward to fighting it out, and they're making sure it looks very highly impossible. Crowley uses his Unite, but it doesn't find any value. Daksh is playing brilliantly on the Mammoth-Swine. He is, yes, taking damage, but his teammates are very close by, therefore he's getting healed up, pumped, ready for the next upcoming action, and right now pushed all the players of Revenant back. You can see they are fighting with Reggie, making sure again in the top lane they get another ally, make it from a 5v5 to a 6v5. I know it might be an AI or a computer, but still it's an ally added upon, where True Rippers can change the game, push to the bottom lane, and look forward to destroying another goal zone, because with another 40 seconds left, if they get a big, I would say, goal advantage, they will be able to kind of delay the Rayquaza fight. But if the goals is very close, right, anything can happen in the last and the final stretch.
Well, I must talk about the defense from the side of Revenant. We just saw how a Regiliki was available at the top lane, but then Revenant with 3 Pokemon battled it out. They knew they had to battle it out at no cost. Another Reggie going in the favor of True Rippers. The scoreline keeps on increasing as Dodrio would be adding more 12 AOS energy. And well, look at that. Yes, it is going to be Revenant trying to search out for the goal post now. A help being called out at the mid lane where most of the fight goes on at the mid lane. Yes, the last 2 minutes arrive as soon as possible. It is available with the Rayquaza.
True Rippers looking forward to the player. They're trying to beat around the bushes, but look at where Revenant are. They're sitting right towards their central lane and no idea here for True Rippers. As soon as Zishal and the players start popping out, now they're worried. True Rippers understand that they're covered from all directions, but what is Kyo doing? He's waiting at the base, wondering if any sneaky players from Revenant look forward to going and scoring goals, because right now it's going to be a double, and that's the reason he's watching and keeping guard off. But in the meantime, True Rippers understanding they have the advantage in the lead here and can close the game. They're not at all initiating any kind of a battle with Rayquaza. All they're doing is denying Revenant from getting closer. And look at this. This is what Kyo wanted. And with his quick attacks coming through, push Nova towards his Flux. Made sure he wanted to do a lot of damage. But oh no, Ninetales is out. This might be a big one. And Crowley comes out with the Unite. This can also do damage. Along with that Surf, you can see both Dux and Ego were hit. But in the meantime, Unite comes out from Dux, making sure he troubles the players. And yes, he's able to knock out Scyther. And along with that, the Lucario goes down. Revenant are losing players. Swifty unable to heal anybody because most of their heavy hitters are out.
Well, yes, exactly. Sent back to the base, 2 of the Pokemon. They have a lot of, time available with them. The time being buyed from the side of True Rippers. More 30 seconds remaining. They don't have the Unite moves. And look at that, they do have a lead. It is going to be Revenant in a harsh battle out there. The Mew faces a lot of damage, gets scared from Eldegoss. 22 points added by PC. This might be a blessed in disguise, but no, 10 added by the side of Dodrio. 10 more seconds remaining, 10 more added. It's 247. Not much of a difference. It can be covered up any single second. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, True Rippers' ego being denied. They still had the difference made against Revenant. It might be a very close call, as you have mentioned, but yes, it is a 247 against a 212 from the side of Revenant. One, not by much of a margin, Lucifer, but then indeed great performance from True Rippers. How well they got the control of all the Regis out there at every single minute whenever they got it, and Revenant being amazing with the defense. Time to time they were also scoring the AOS energy into the goal post.
Yeah, need to commend Revenant here as well. They never gave up. It never looked like they were out of the battle. They kept True Rippers in check and in control. This battle could have gone in either direction in the finals. Which you saw, if Crowley would have got a chance to score with 36 or 46 that he had, he would have easily beaten the score of 247. And you could see True Rippers who wanted to sneakily go in and goal. Ego was denied. They tried in the bottom lane as well. Players denied. Revenant were ready and steady for it. It did not work out here in game 1, but again, this has happened to True Rippers. Now they have to close the game. Previously, when they won game 1, immediately it was a comeback that we ended up seeing from Marcos, and True Rippers lost. Now True Rippers have another chance to close it out and get their second victory in control, but it's something to watch out for. But I would say some credits need to be given to Kyo as well, because he was available in every lane whenever the team needed him.
Well, yes, the first two games would actually be taking victory in this best of 3. Again, a great matchup here where True Rippers perform amazing. As I say, they had the Regis and worked out with it, but Revenant maintaining the pace of the game. Look at the graph that we see on the screens right now. Revenant, yes, they were below Team True Rippers all of the times, but at that moment, when we touched the 6-minute mark, they were above them. Then they went against them, and it was a difficult situation to say around 8 minutes and 10 minutes, where both of them were going consistent by adding 10 or 15 points coming from each of the sides. But no team focused on getting that Rayquaza. They wanted to waste as much as time they could for the opponent team. And discussing about points added, most of the points were added between 2 minutes and 4 minutes.
I agree with you. The last stretch battle that we saw, it was very strategic from both the ends. Revenant took control of the central area and mid lane of True Rippers. Whereas True Rippers, what did they do? They were in their mid lane towards the bottom lane, but they were in a position where they could run away from Revenant if they had some cheeky strategy and a sneak up strategy coming through, and that's what happened. Revenant immediately jumped from the bushes in 2 different directions, but because of the positioning of True Rippers, they were also able to recircle the players of Revenant or get away from them. And especially when Lucario in from Revenant went to top lane to go for a sneaky goal, which didn't work out, he immediately fell into the position or the hands of True Rippers where they had started using their unites, got hit a lot, and therefore I felt like Revenant, who could have got things under control when they got 2 players knocked out, was the reason that they couldn't get back into the game. They tried their best, which we can see in the highlights as well. I think this initial control that True Rippers took, that gave them a chance to completely command the game throughout these 10 minutes.
Well, yes, these were some moments in the replay that we saw that from the very start when actually it was Revenant taking up the lead, I was sure that they might be able to get a lead in the end. But then when you talk about True Rippers, adding point consistently and most of the points added by them in the very start, the early start was real good for True Rippers. So again, kudos to them, how they managed to actually beat out the defense, but the defense was still strong from the side of Revenant. So again, I'm on both sides that the both teams have performed brilliantly, and I'm still, in a worry that what would happen in the second game, because again, the first game was too competitive where it could have been either of the teams taking it home.
Yeah, it went back and forth. What one thing that we surely saw was that True Rippers did not want to give away the lead. Every time that Revenant inched closer, maybe 10 AOS energy away, immediately True Rippers found a way to push towards their end and start getting these AOS energies and goals put in, and therefore that's the reason True Rippers not only kept that momentum, not only kept the lead, were also able to deny in the final stretch for Revenant to put some goals in. But right now it is going to be game 2 that we are going to be jumping into, and Revenant, they are the ones to watch out. This is their second game, as we mentioned. True Rippers, for them it's the third game, and they understand after finishing this third game they'll be left with only 1 game, and Rudal, that's the reason True Rippers are like, we're already at the first spot, let's make sure that we keep this streak up, not just with maybe 1 game or 2 game that we have in our hand. Let's just take up all the games which are left over and make sure we get the first seed, because True Rippers were that team, Rudal, who did not even get a chance to play on the LAN stage in Pokemon UNITE India Open. And I think that aggression, that I would say hunger, is right now showing up in their matches.
Yeah, well, we are seeing a different True Ripper here. How well they are performing, in the Asia Champions League. Well, for their region, they need to represent India when they are talking about Asia Champions League. So a lot of homework being done, a lot of practice being done from all these trainers, and then present in the arena. What happens in the arena stays in the arena and decides your fate. Whenever it stays in the arena, it will decide your fate wherever you are going. For now, if you win the first stage with the first seed, you're straightforward qualifying for the Malaysia LAN.
Who doesn't want it, right? Bag it and immediately, I would say, chill for some time so that you can get an idea about what you want to do. I feel like sometimes if you get more the time, people call it more the merrier, right? I think you get a chance to discuss a lot more in terms of building metas around where you might pull off a 3 all-rounder setup. I don't know if that is kind of doable, but we have seen these kind of weird plays coming in, a double ranged attacker play coming through with only defenders, no healers in terms of the supporters that we see. Teams have pulled these victories out of the blue, and which has worked out for them. So I think it's going to be very crucial, but for Revenant, they have to pull a trick out of their hats right now, because in how we know Revenant and how they've played their first match, they are considered like the heavy hitters of the India region. They're very aggressive, they do not let any teams try to regain control from them, and they generally get majority of the knockouts, right? And even when we saw the scorecard of how many knockouts that they were able to take against their opponent, every player had some or the other knockout, either 3-2, something like that. It never looked like Revenant, I would say, ran away from a battle, but it was just True Rippers playing together really, really well. And Mrudal, we did see in week 1 and week 2 that in case you want to kind of take down True Rippers, you have to separate the players. True Rippers love playing together.
Yeah.
And in a couple of instances, when it looked like players were getting separated, Revenant did capitalize, but True Rippers did not, I would say, give that small space or breathing space for a long time. Immediately jump back, making sure they play together.
Well, yes, Lucifer, talking about the aggression that Revenant has shown up until now, I will agree on the facts that they have shown. But again, talking about the ban phase, now we are here in the round 2, the game 2 of the very first match. Revenant against True Rippers. We saw an Urshifu ban coming from the side of True Rippers in the previous game. Well, for now, let's see what happens on either of the sides.
Yeah. I'm not too sure if it's going to be the same, but denying Daksh from picking up Snorlax was interesting. I mean, we've seen him play Mamoswine as well. Very interesting. He tried it here as well. He was heavy hitting and it worked out. Right now, it's going to be a successive ban coming through from True Rippers and therefore them having a chance to pick up Urshifu, because this time, Revenant, they have banned Dodrio, making sure that not Snorlax that they're worried about, but Kyo's Dodrio, which was running all around rampant on the map.
Well, yes, exactly. And when you talk about either of the teams, we will see that Swifty will come with the Eldegoss, Seashall going on Snorlax. But look at that. On the sides, we have some great bans too. Devesh comes up with a Mew.
Devesh, as we did speak about it, if he has a chance to pick up the Mew, he does pick it up. But Crowley this time, he changes it up. He's like, okay, you go for the Mew. I'm going to be picking up the Ninetales. But Noah, he's like, I do want a Speedster, because True Rippers are not the only players who can play with Speedsters. Comes up none other than Absol. Is going to be very interesting. I'm excited to see whenever a Speedster is there. But Absol is also a very difficult Pokemon to master. So I want to see how well this trainer is ready with it. But on top of it, Revenant are like, we want another ranged attacker. They bring in, it's going to be a Venusaur, but also on the other end we see a Dragapult also coming through. Kyo, who I thought maybe can go in for an all-rounder, he's picked up a Dragapult along with Daksh, who's going to be exchanging and making sure that this time no Mamoswine but a Slowbro.
Well, yes, exactly. Talking about all these players, definitely I'm quite excited to see how Revenant plays in with this kind of, lineup that they have had. And moving forward with all these Pokemons, let's begin with the second game where True Rippers already have a lead against Revenant. And I'm really excited. If they win it with a 2-0, that would be a question mark on the side of Revenant. What are going to be their next steps to actually win the games?
Yeah. Super crucial right now. If Revenant gets back in, they will have another game to play. That's going to be game 3. But here, in the first match for week 3 is what you're going to be seeing, or match 5 in total of the India region. True Rippers, are they going to be commanding from the start? Are they the ones who will be having the reins in control is something that we have to see. If you want to talk about the mid laners right now, as you can see, it's going to be Kyo from True Rippers playing on the Dragapult, also with Devesh on the Mew, but alone from Revenant's edge, it's going to be Absol taking control of the mid lane. But in the meantime, Zishal on Revenant's end, he wants to annoy the players of True Rippers for some extent as Noah levels up and is ready for the next upcoming battle.
Well, it's more about the farming once again being done in the very start, and as True Rippers will begin with the score line, Revenant would be focusing more on the damage dealt. Look at them, they're just going aggressive for now, maintaining both the sides. And when you talk about the damage, it's a lot, okay? So the Bulbasaur will actually take time and go back, to the lanes, go back to its base, whereas Snorlax begins the scoreline by adding 7 Eos energy to the goal post.
Early goals is something that I do not worry about a lot, but I'm looking forward to early battles. Right now, Urshifu will evolve, and I'm looking forward to. He's gone in for a very aggressive attacks, get chop and throw something. So looking forward to how it functions. But in the meantime, Revenant, they're looking forward to taking complete bottom lane control. But Crowley, he's super low. Electro ball coming in from Devesh, hurts him, sends him back to the base. But nonetheless, it doesn't, I would say, give up the bottom lane control completely, because the heavy hitters are still there. Zishal will try to provide control. But there are 4 Pokemons coming in with the Dragon Dance, Kyo. That will force the players of Revenant to give away the bottom lane control. But Crowley, he's back in. But in the meantime, top lane is also where Revenant are losing control. Whether it's top or bottom, it's going back and forth, and it is not looking favorable for right now Revenant.
Wait for it. True Rippers going till the very 100th goal, and now that they have 95 points in their chunks. Lucifer, it's been more than around 2.5 minutes. Look at this battle between Swifty going against the Urshifu, and there comes a great, ally. There is going to be Absol actually taking down Urshifu and bringing him back to its base.
Super crucial. If no assistance was provided, Swifty could have been knocked out, but then what do True Rippers say? They're like, oh, it's okay. A player was already in the forefront aggressive. We are going to be making sure that the little amount of control that you thought you got in the top lane will be immediately denied. Right now, Revenant, their intention is not the bottom Reggie. They want to fight on the top, get the Reggie Aliki for themselves, add an ally for themselves, making sure that Revenant have a tough time. And True Rippers are trying to do that. They've already taken control, but Revenant, who saw there are many number of players, immediately they started switching lane. They're like, okay, with a couple of seconds left, we'll jump, and Reggie is immediately here, but Ego has already started the battle. Safe is already here. True Rippers are the ones who have started things off, but looking at the amount of players that Revenant brought into the bottom lane, True Rippers are giving them space.
Indeed, the space that Revenant needs right now, well, working really hard on how True Rippers were present in the very first game. Revenant has got that strategy. Now, taking the Regiais in their favor. Some more special, performances would be awarded to them, and moving forward, they took a lot of damage. Going back towards their goal post, trying to save it. True Rippers will be dealing a lot of damage, and bottom lane, a great defense came up from the side of True Rippers.
Crowley was clinching his teeth over there to survive. But right now it looks like it's going to be a 2v1 situation. Ego is stuck. Thankfully, his Blissey is there, going to be saving the day. But the scalding hot. I would say water gun coming through from Slowbro hurts him, but he is one Pokemon, can take up a lot in terms of damage and also has blue health. Taking complete advantage of that is going to be Dux, but not for long, because the Dragapult is out and now he is in a vulnerable situation, in a 3v1 situation, and another knockout comes through. Ninetales, that is Crowley, is playing. He's like, I was right at the edge of fainting, but I'm back into the game with my team healing me up, and you are the ones, True Rippers, your Pokemons are the ones who will be fainting one after another. And look at this tussle. It looks like Revenant are somehow taking control of things, but the goal difference tells you the other. They're still unable to score.
It is a build-up that we are looking for, Lucifer. I am going to see it. Dragapult, yes, he would be taking some knockouts, but it is a build-up for the last of the minutes. Revenant know what they are doing. Venusaur going for a KO streak of 2 would be taking down 2 Pokemons and sending them back to the base, whereas one Pokemon from the side of Revenant also faints. Yes, would be back into the battle. Ninetales coming back to the battle as soon as possible, whereas the top lane is empty. It's a great control from the side of Revenant on the bottom lane, and look at the scoreline. Closing down back to back, it's now 167 to only 115 from Revenant. It is just a 50-pointer difference, and at any given second that would be covered up. Look at Zishol present as the perfect ball against Team True Rippers, disallowing them to go in the bottom lane.
Even though the battle was great coming in from Revenant, it did not work out. Unite being used, so much damage. It looks like Crowley might just be out, but before that the Slowbro goes out, and this does give them an opening. Blizzard also super low right now, with Absol going down, a 2 KO streak before Blizzard goes on. He's trying to eliminate another one, and yes, says him. Urshifu is out and quickly taking the Regiais. Again is going to be Revenant, but look at this, every time that we are seeing coming in from Revenant, they're able to get these boss Pokemons, they're able to get knockouts and sending True Rippers Pokemons back. But what is happening is that they're not getting chance to score. That's how True Rippers are maintaining control. 214 is what True Rippers have reached, and that is from the top lane push that Urshifu was making. But right now, Revenant, understanding that the bottom lane fight is not at all working, they shift gears immediately to the top lane and finally fight with Reggie Aliki. And Revenant, getting Reggie Aliki in their favor, will be finally able to destroy another goal zone on the top, and with that they'll be eyeing their goal zone on the bottom as well to destroy, because that is also left with little, but the scoreline is still not big of a difference. Dux is super low with the petal dance coming in and whips coming through. There will be another knockout coming through. Revenant, as we did say, they are heavy hitters. They're packing a lot of punches. Their attacks are heavy, but let's see how far that will get them in the scores.
well then, you know, harsh situations always require harsh solutions. Revenant working on that. Yes, they had a decision to move towards the top lane, but then the goalpost not being available. It's yet too far, and True Rippers are even able to defend the bottom lane. They know that that won't be successful. Some farming being done. Yes, they need to be available with the unite moves, because it's just a matter of more 40 seconds where the Rayquaza would also be available. So then after that, this might be the round where True Rippers would face on getting that Rayquaza, because they now have a good lead, but Revenant can cover it up at any given second. Being unstoppable, wanting to stop the enemy team. Look at that, Urshifu is just being there for the top lane. No matter what, even if there isn't a single Pokemon to the side of Revenant, the top lane needs to be guarded off.
Yeah, lanes need to be completely guarded from both the teams. Revenant cannot lose a lot more. True Rippers should not give away anything. Rayquaza is going to be here, and before it is there, you saw Revenant took, I would say, one step further. Before the Rayquaza was here, they wanted to initiate the battle, and they did. They did push back the players of True Rippers, but True Rippers were smart. They did not give in to the battle, and they're holding their positions as they know they still have the lead. Again, Daksh was able to push back because he's a defender. He can tank up a lot in terms of damage, but now Blizzard and Zishal pushing together. A big block coming through, but with the blue HP still surviving. Good telekinesis coming through in between, but then there is a unite that we see, which forces the players to back off from True Rippers, and they do give that space, and then comes in Urshifu with heavy punches coming through, but Crowley, he'll be able to eliminate one, and on top of it, with the unite coming in from Absol. Heavy hits coming through. They've knocked out 2 players. They're looking forward to the third, and with that, it's only 1 player left, and that's going to be Noah. He's trying to fight with the last player surviving. He will also be sent back. Everybody sent to their bases. All the Pokemons fated from True Rippers, and Revenant not even thinking of Rayquaza. They're like, we'll just start getting the goals scored, and they do, and take the lead to 307.
The build-up for the last 2 minutes, not wanting to take the Rayquaza was not even required. Lucifer, look at that, adding 100 points to the table. 259 was secured and procured by Zishal, and after that the team goes on with that. Now they just need to buy the time. Slowbro would actually be able to take down one of the Pokemon as Ninetales sent back to the base, but look at the lead that they have got. Revenant did it. They knew what they had to do. The Rayquaza might go down, and the Rayquaza goes down by the side of True Rippers. That can be a change that they were waiting for. Last 15 seconds, and the fate will change for Team Revenant. The Rayquaza went down, and it's True Rippers taking 2 rounds back to back. What a history that has been made in this very game of True Rippers and Revenant. It's a 2-0. The last moment Rayquaza in the last 30 seconds. The fate changed for True Rippers, and they have got a victory against Team Revenant Esports. 678 to just 337 from the side of Revenant.
A table turner of a game indeed. Things got out of hand in less than 10 seconds. True Rippers' entire team was sent back to the base. All of them were knocked out, but one after another they started respawning, and what did they do? Immediately they rushed and gushed towards the legendary pit, that is Rayquaza fight, and they wanted to initiate it. And where things started falling apart was when Crowley got knocked out in that mid lane, and after Crowley they started putting a lot of pressure on Zishal, and Zishal was super low. Swifty tried to heal them all up, and then Blizzard fell along with Nova, and things just crumbled. What a way to get back into the game. True Rippers understanding that they have faced this situation previously as well against Marcos, but they know how to also crawl back and get back into the fight. But they raised huge credits to him. His electro balls on time, the ranged attack, basic attacks itself, the boosted attacks coming through on time was the reason that True Rippers were able to change the momentum of the game. And this is why we say making use of the best ranged attackers gives you a big advantage. And then to add a little bit of the sugar dusting on top, it was Kyo with the dragon dance coming through, where people were annoyed. This dragon is not stopping. The Dragapult is just running in circles, and how do we stop it? At any time, Q was attacking in from different directions. And Revenant in the last one, where they had to hold themselves steady because they had used majority of their unites, Revenant didn't have anything saved for the last 30 seconds battle.
Well, yes, exactly. The last 30 seconds where True Rippers just changed the fate of the game. Yes, it was a strategy that was being built by Revenant from the very 6-minute mark. They knew that they were gaining the favor, they were gaining advantage on their side. But after that, True Rippers coming up with the Rayquaza, and everything went south against Team Revenant. To talk about the points being added by the side of Revenant, yes, it was a good start for them. Then they were silent from 2 minutes to 6 minutes. The farming, everything, the Pokemons being evoluted. Then 30 points added by them from 6 minutes to the 8-minute mark. But when you talk about the performance from True Rippers, again,
this is Revenant. That was True.
This is Revenant, and that was True Rippers. The performance from the side of Revenant, they were consistent throughout this game. They added those points. The last 2 minutes, actually, it was Revenant taking the lead. But then when Rayquaza came up, everything was in the hands of Team True Rippers. Again, it was a great game from both of the sides, but kudos and congratulations to Team True Rippers. A great match that they've shown.
Yeah, again to point out one major thing that we ended up seeing in this battle, in this match, was True Rippers in the first 0 to 2 minutes of how much control they took, and their intention was only to keep scoring. Whether they get knockouts or whether they get knocked out was not the, I would say, strategy go-to for them. It was always that they get goals scored in, and in the entire 0 to 2 minutes, entire team gold. Whereas on the other end, when we saw from Revenant, they were going for team fights, they were delivering knockouts, but they were not able to score goals, and that is the advantage that True Rippers took, keeping them at bay. Even after the 2-minute mark to the 6-minute mark, we ended up seeing that Revenant were the ones in control of the fights. They were the ones who were delivering knockouts and sending players back to their bases on True Rippers' end, but they were never able to score, and that's what True Rippers were doing. They were not pushing all the players together, but they at least kept one player in check who could put a stop to a couple of players from Revenant who wanted to score the goal. And I think that was the reason that we saw this comeback also happening. That how players were being, I would say, knocked out one after another, Mridul, was when Daksh was the first knockout from the end of True Rippers. Therefore, he could get back into the game very fast. And I would say his final stretch fight, telekinesis coming through twice, I think changed a lot. He made sure that the heavy hitters, whether might be Zishal or Nova coming in, stopping them immediately with the telekinesis, not letting them move, and immediately his teammates surrounding the other players. That worked out. True Rippers, what a game to get back in, and I'm pretty sure Revenant will be beating themselves up. The small 10-15 second gap that they got where they went ahead and scored, where they could have taken Rayquaza and made sure that the deal was closed in game 2, they didn't, and it's going to be very hurtful for them. A very interesting match, as we said, week 3 off to a great start itself in the first match.
Well, yes, exactly, a great start, and stories being written where we talked about True Rippers, how it was, a difficult journey for them in the Pokemon UNITE India Open. Well, Lucifer, wait for it, the tables have turned in the Pokemon UNITE Asia Champions League, and True Rippers are performing exceptionally well.
Yes.
Look at them now that they have a victory against Revenant, one of the top teams of the Indian region. And it is going to be now that they are at the very first position. Talk about the Revenant. Yes, they have lost it against True Rippers, but then they still have a victory, and that makes 3 points for them. God's reign now. Focusing on them, 2 matches left for them. They need to perform. At least they would be having 6 points so that they would be getting a 3rd or the 4th seed.
Right now I'm worried for every team except True Rippers. True Rippers at all times have managed to score points. Even the match that they've lost, they're like, we will get 1 point at least. And that's the reason they're sitting on top. Now, every other team who might even win, except for God's Reign, the other 3 teams that we are going to be seeing, Take It Marcos or SATL, Revenant, even if they win their next match, they'll be only getting 3 points, which will push them to 6 points, Mridul. And what will happen with 6 points is they'll be still in the 2nd position. True Rippers in such a good spot right now. I'm so worried for every other team. But right now we'll jump into a quick interview for the winners. Let's jump to and talk to True Rippers Daksh, the man who was blocking and defending and saving his teammates from a lot of things. Let's talk to Daksh and congratulate him for winning this match. Hello Daksh, congratulations for winning match and looking like true rippers. You're looking flawless.
Yes, bro. Thanks.
Now I have a question for you as we start
Yes,
things
bro.
off. We saw how well you kind of strategized, but that last fight, right, the final stretch, it fell away from your hand. What was the call between the teammates when that happened?
Yeah, so like they came and scored goals, but they were not able to score all of them. So our call was like spawn back and flip the zap. We had Urshifu, so we did it and secured it.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. And when you banned Urshifu in the very first game, what was your mindset then that you took it in the second game? And when you talk about the last of the minutes, Rayquaza, was there in your mind, or it was just for the instant that happened in the game?
No, when we have Urshifu, we obviously keep in mind that zap because it has a good secure. In the first game, if we didn't ban, then they will pick it. So we banned it in the first game because we were team B then.
Yeah. Now with you guys on top, you will be kind of the ones who will every team will be looking forward to. But also, if you are in this spot, you know what you're booking yourself, right? A chance to get to the LAN stage. So how excited are you for the entire Asian Champions League and also to represent India on a bigger stage?
We're pretty excited about it, although it's still a long journey there. We still need to
Yes.
win our rest of the matches. So nothing's assured yet. We still need to work hard.
And I will wish you guys all the best for the next upcoming matches and the next stage as well, and looking forward to how well you guys are playing. I feel like every team needs to be worried. So all the best for the next upcoming matches and the entire league itself. Have a great game.
Thank
ahead.
you, bro.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
All the best.
Congratulations
All the
again,
best.
Daksh.
Thanks, bro.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You can see how confident they were.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, things are falling apart. Get back to the base and we will flip it from there. That that small call, understanding that they have a chance, and especially being, I would say, very awake of what's happening around you, right? As he said, it was that they were scoring goals and they did not take Rayquaza. Now they understood that they're scoring goals. Let's get back to our bases. Immediately from there, we will stop them from scoring goals, push them towards Legend Repeat or push them away, fight with them, get knockouts and send them all back, and we will get Rayquaza. And they flip that all within 40 to 30 seconds. Imagine all this happening where Revenant could have won game 2, Mridul.
Yeah. Well, again, as we saw from the interview, how he was so confident that we banned the Urshifu, and that there was a reason for that. And then going forward for it, performed brilliantly in the second game by taking Urshifu. So everything was in their mind, and when the game went with it, they had it for themselves. Well, it's time to go for a break, as we'll be right back with the match 2.
trainers, welcome back after watching a very intense match 1 in Pokemon UNITE Asia Champions League for the India region. My name is Lucifer. Back at the desk is going to be Mridul, and now we are going to be jumping into match number 2 for the day. It's very interesting of how we saw True Rippers get back into the groove and back into the gears, because it did look like a very fatal fall if they had one in case they lost their second game, which happened in the side when they played against Marco. So I think True Rippers today made sure that doesn't happen, brother.
Well, yes, exactly. And how True Rippers perform amazingly, against the side of Revenant. It was a 2-0 clean chit sweep. Now we have Marcos Gaming coming up from the side where True Rippers, yes, they had one game against them, but now Marcos Gaming have their own fate to have a battle against God's Reign. Against this God's Reign, where they have lost 2 matches, now everything depends on them winning and taking it home for them. Marcos Gaming, Curem, Meruem, Rex, Snowy and Wolf. On the side of God's Reign, you have Divine, Kale, Noxy, Omen and Scepter.
Both the teams are ready for the duel here. They're looking forward to getting their points up. Marcos in their debut match, what a show. God's Reign, we know them of how they kind of get back into the groove. I'm pretty sure everybody still has that India Open that we saw where God's Reign initially looked like, okay, things not working out, and it is the same thing here, but eventually crown themselves as the champions. But again, one thing that their opponents are not thinking in them as are India champions, because here in this stage they're like, we are going to be playing one against another and we know how to fight against each other. It does not matter what happens next, it is something that we will be looking forward to in terms of taking you down, is what they're intended. They're like, you might be the champions, but you're not the Asia champions, you're not the India champions in Asia Champions League of the India region. And that's what, whenever you look forward to fighting against a team or multiple teams, irrespective of what their crowns to their titles or allocates will be, you have to be looking forward to taking them just as another team. Right now, one thing in front of our screens is something that we always love, is the trivia, brother.
Well, yes, exactly. Now talking about some player trivias out there. God's Reign, Noxy, Good Luck Meal, Vada Pav, favorite song, Star Walking, and plays sports. So again, a Good Luck Meal is what I would like to have right now from the side of Noxy.
I mean, let's make it like this, that Noxy, if you guys win today, send us a couple of Vada Pavs. We will have it after the stream of today. But again, he is very crucial for the team. So I think it's very crucial to keep him fed. Snorlax does represent the Pokemon which needs to be fed and needs to have good sleep. On the other end, if Snorlax is well fed and I would say well slept, will play as none other than the Eldegoss, which delivers a lot of healing, which we saw from Revenant's end. Just going back into the previous game, Mridul, where we saw, right, numerous times that Crowley was super low, Blizzard looked super low. It was because of that Eldegoss being there healing them. But now we will jump into another player that is going to be Kurim. His Good Luck Meal, anything prepared by my mother. This is true. I think in especially the Indian households, right, when you're going out for something, when it is a big thing for you, whether it's like a competition or even in terms of anything studies related, your mother gives you a good luck meal. Even a spoon is enough. It kind of boosts your mood, right, for whatever you're doing the day.
Indeed, and when you talk about a good luck meal, definitely anything prepared by your mother is also going to be a great thing.
Always.
Hobby is going to be cycling from the side of Kurem, so indeed he is also fitness focused and loves to cycle whenever he wants to. So again, a great player trivia that we saw from both the sides, but in the end, Lucifer, I'm having a lot of, intention to eat that vada pav right at this moment because I'm really going to be excited for it. He made me remember this. Leaving things apart, now we have Marcos Gaming and God's Reign. God's Reign, buckle up your power. Eat the vada pavs as much as you can. You are going to go in your 3rd match for this Asia Champions League Stage 1 for the Indian region. Perform and bring the glory of victory home.
Yeah, they want to. They're going to be looking forward to getting these couple of matches that they're left in their bags, making sure that they get their points and do not become the, I would say, the last place team, because right now no eliminations, but depending on your positions, you're one way quicker back to home, meaning one way quicker to elimination. Now it's time for match 2. Let's jump into the draft phase. We're going to be seeing the bans, picks and the preparations. Right now, initial bans, as we did in a previously talked with Daksh, he did mention that if there is a Urshifu available, the other team will be looking forward to picking up. If you don't pick it up first, I'm looking forward to if there is a ban coming in from either one of the teams, and also Mridul, eye on the speedster if there is one.
Oh, indeed. Well, everything gets focused on the bans coming up from both the sides. Yes, it is going to be Marcos Gaming and Goat's Reign. Very much excited to see what these players are ready with, and there are the bans. Marcos Gaming will be banning the Dodrio, whereas the Goat's Reign go for a Mew ban. Let's see. From both the sides, the first pick has been awarded to Kyurem. Let's see what he chooses.
Dodrio, we've seen how much of an annoying Pokemon it can be, and Kyo, he got that for the team, and initially then Revenant banned in the game too. Right now Marcos out of the gate itself do not want it happening, and along with the Mew also, it's going to be interesting. On the other end, as you said, the choice is coming through. Walk immediately goes out, picks out Sizer. On the other end, Kyle, he comes out with the Sylveon along with Scepter, seeing that the Tyranitar is available, making sure that Tyranitar is going to be very crucial on how they play with the Ancient coming up. But again, Scepter needs to be helped with a healer, and I'm looking forward to who that is going to be. Marcos, understanding that Gods Reign are not looking forward to the Urshifu, Snowy immediately picks it up, and Kyurem becomes their healer with the Blissey.
Well, then again, as far as the Pokemon UNITE Asia Champions League is concerned, I am going to see that Urshifu is getting involved a lot from both of the team's side. We are seeing that Snowy is also going to pick up that Pokemon, but look and wait for it. We have a Tyranitar coming from the side of Scepter. So again, both the sides getting guarded up with a lot of defense and brutality. We also talk about a healer support coming from the side of Kyurem, whereas Noxie is all set with the Eldegoss. Wait for it. Omen is actually going to go for a Talon Flame.
Yes, I'm really excited to see this. And Omen, we've seen him play really very efficiently and very amazing when he gets a chance to go on the speedsters. Also has a goal getter as an item. But in terms of the exchange, in terms of the preparation phase, if you want to talk about, Murem picks up Snowy takes up the Sizer, and Walk switches back to none other than the Gardevoir. And this is what I was thinking. Walk generally plays the range attacker, likes to play along with the team rather than being in the forefront of the team, and we have seen at all time God's Reign do want to kind of help out Walk to survive longer and the farthest, making sure that his Psyshock does a lot in terms of damage. And now God's Reign and Marcos are ready for match 2 here in week 3 of the India Region Asia Champions League. So go!
Well, here we start with Marcos and God's Reign. Yes, it is a beginning where now each of the sides would be busy in the farming. The very first 3 minutes matter a lot, and then the Reggies coming up. We saw how True Rippers were focused a lot on getting those Reggies in the very first game, but then the second game they were more focused on getting damage on Team Revenant. Now, talking about the match between Marcos Gaming and God's Reign, both of them are here for the battles, adding points back to back, 9 against the scoreline of 4.
Omen stuck in the flux. All he's doing right now is leveling up. He's like, there are wild Pokemons, let me just take it up, deny it from happening. But Kyle with a growl trying to deny them from progressing further, so his teammates respawn and get back and try to help him out. In the meantime, the top lane, if you want to talk about Kyurem, is stuck. They're going to look forward to a knockout, and that's what they do. God's Reign, they are not having what they had in the first 2 weeks. So here, they're looking forward to making sure any team, irrespective whether they lost against them or won against them, they want to make sure today is a better day for them.
Well, indeed, today would be a better day for them. At least they are planning for it a lot. Look at that. But Marcos Gaming is here to defend like the beast, sending them back to the base. It was a chance that they could have also got the knockout. The players must have been KO'd. Marcos adding the KO streak and adding the AO synergy to the goalpost. Now it's 49. Oh, it's a 50, a half century done in the very first 2 minutes. A great head start for Marcos Gaming.
Right now, Marcos, yes, are having a good start. Little advantage in the goals as well. But how far will it go? Because God's Reign, they're looking better. And you can see how they're able to diverge the players of Marcos. You might think that yes, Marcos were the ones overextending and trying to deny their mid lane. But that has opened up a vulnerable spot for them. Look at the numerous players who are super low. Unfortunately for God's Reign, they were not able to follow it up with speed, and therefore Marcos players will be able to back off. But again, good intention from there, and they see wild Pokemons that are already in the mid lane. They're like, we'll take wild Pokemons, gain that experience, level up, and then look forward to the fights as we progress further. But for now, God's Reign still need to look forward to getting goals scored. Plus 12 comes in, but still behind of 13 goals.
Well, yes, exactly, and look at that. Yes, they must be behind of the scoreline, but oh, they are covering up. God's Reign not much far away from that. You know, bringing our eyes down to the bottom lane. It looks like it is going to be a difficult battle for God's Reign, but no, the questions have been answered. Another Pokemon being sent back to the base, and now Divine at the scoreline of 28, more 30 years energy added. Now it's 105. So it's more focused towards, you know, the bottom lane, where now the Regis are also available. Yes, at the bottom lane, the Regis, and Marcos is already there to take it. Now the Regis being available to them. Let's see, can they change their fate in this middle part of the game?
It looks like God's Reign are going to be having a tough time. Snowy jumping in their flux, he doesn't care. Using his teammate's Ice Shock Wall, brilliant assistance being provided over there, and the only player surviving is Care. Now Marcos might have lost the goal zone on top, so Marcos are like, if you have lost on top, we'll deliver a big blow on the bottom and make sure they're unable to do anything. And with just 3 more AS energies to score, they're still looking forward to just running around. In the meantime, God's Reign, they're looking forward to taking up a big lead. Shifu comes in the mix, but a little bit too late for the party, and he gets sent back. No invitation, no entry is what they say.
Well then, Talonflame being added by the side of God's Reign. We have not seen Talonflame coming into the meta from a long time. Yes, it's rare, and it is going to come from the side of God's Reign. Adding a lot of difference. Well, it's only Wall trying to stop the Regieleki. Sizer is here to help, and now the damage being dealt from 2 Pokemon, but they are busy at the top end. Why? The destruction is already caused from God's Reign. So God's Reign playing from the 2 sides. One side already awarded to Regieleki. You handle it, while God's Reign actually coming up in the bottom lane now. The points being added. Yet it is Marcos maintaining a difference of 50 points.
Previously, Snowy pushed to their flux and wanted to eliminate players of God's Reign. This time, God's Reign are doing that. But Snowy, he still survives, delivers 2 big blows, gets 2 KO streak, and the only player surviving was the Scepter, on none other than the Tyranitar, gets eliminated along with the Slowbro as well. A big quad streak coming in from Snowy on that side. He's going to be super happy, and Volk in the meantime, what was he doing? He was scoring. He scored on the top lane, destroyed another goal zone. Therefore, both the teams at this point are kind of vulnerable, but God's Reign, who look forward to taking away the lead because they lost the bottom lane battle. It is Marcos who are back in control, and a 50 goal difference. Regirock back in the game on the bottom lane, and Marcos this time again looking forward to quickly taking it up, but God's Reign always look forward to the Regieleki on top. They wanted to cause a little bit of trouble, but Divine was the only one. Divine on this Slowbro is able to do damage, but somewhere I feel like he's unable to play with his teammates, and he's taking these hits coming in, this Vicus Blow and Throat Chop coming through, but for how long will he take it? Because Kyurem is here, finally put an end to this fight and eliminate him. But looks like Divine still has something to say. He's dragging 3 players' attention here, brother.
Exactly.
Finally gets KO'd.
Took a lot of time to actually take down that Slowbro. So definitely a great performance coming up from the side of God's Reign. That 3 of the Pokemon out of the 5 were busy eliminating it. And okay, now there comes a KO. Marcos Gaming once again picking up the battle, taking the Regieleki into their half. Everything is looking great for them. The Unite move also comes in. Noxie and Scepter taking a lot of damage. Omen sent back to the base. Talonflame is no more available. Every single thing is going against God's Reign right now. A KO streak coming up from the side of Gardevoir, and Marcos Gaming is being unstoppable and undefeatable.
Pull yourselves together, God's Reign. One, I would say, small iffy thing that happened was a Unite move on Omen, which was blocked just by Snorlax, nothing else, and therefore everything fell apart one after another. Players from God's Reign just started falling apart like puzzle pieces or blocks of Jenga, if you want to say. God's Reign somehow are looking forward to getting back into the battle. They're able to destroy another goal zone on the bottom, which now makes the entire two teams completely vulnerable, both at the top and the bottom. But in terms of a big goal difference, God's Reign are the ones who are on the back foot.
Well, again, Marcos changing the fate of the game in the middle of the game. That was a great sight to see. Again, moving forward with Marcos Gaming right now, 361 to 179. Look at the bottom lane, where Talonflame is busy going to the goal post. Oh, would he be stopped by the Snorlax? Yes, he would be, as one of the first. Oh no, not even the Reggie coming into their half. Marcos Gaming once again winning it all out in the bottom lane. The God's Reign being pushed back to their base, back to back. The Pokemons being sent back, knocked out, being fainted. Every single thing is going out of the hands of God's Reign right now. The last 2 minutes, now everything depends on Rayquaza. They have the Unite moves available and they need to utilize it. Look at that! Both of the teams invested in the Rayquaza. Rayquaza goes down. Marcos Gaming winning the very first game. I'm damn sure about it. Look at Marcos Gaming. What a wonderful play from their side.
There's nothing to stop them. We just saw telekinesis to stop things all, and you can see God's Reign understood. There is nothing in the battle for them right now. Even you might say that there is around another minute and a half left, but Marcos will reach a threshold, or I would say a graph of unreachable heights even in that 1.5 minute left. They might level up, gain experience, collect chaos energy, get back to a push on the bottom of the top lane. It'll buy time, delay the inevitable, but this is the fate. Marcos, what a play. Especially, I think, before I could take a glimpse of how the Unites were used, I think Walk, what he did was, seeing Scepter was already there in the Legendary Pit, he put up one of his own Unites and then put up a Psyshock. On top of it, he used the Psychic, 3 moves coming in. Rayquaza was melted like anything. There was nothing that Rayquaza could do. It was like it spawned and it was sent back to its own legendary base, legendary whatever is left. What a play. You can see he becomes the MVP of this fight. Marcos and Walk. What a fight indeed.
Yeah. You know, to praise Walk and Snowy, we would definitely be sure of that.
Snowy
How Kyurem added a lot of, you know, health to them every single time. Whenever they faced the damage, Kyurem was available. And when you talk about God's Reign, Talonflame was a great choice. From the start, it looked like that it would be a close match between both of them. Marcos Gaming and God's Reign maintaining the both levels. But when you go to the middle of the game, look at Marcos Gaming. They were exceptional with their performance. And in the end, when the Rayquaza came in, it was like 5 seconds, 6 seconds, the Rayquaza goes down.
I think this all kind of inclines on the levels that you can see. Movesets are one thing, but I want to talk about a big level difference that was there between Marcos's players and God's Reigns Pokemon. I think that's what affected Snowy from very long back. He had a big differentiator. When he was at level 14, the Pokemons from God's Reigns end was at level 10 and level 11 and level 12 at max. That, I think, was a very tough one. And Snowy was going in like 1v2, 1v3. He didn't care. He was just running around making sure that Scyther did do a lot in terms when he crisscrossed them at all times. There was nothing stopping it. And Snowy alone, the Urshifu, Snowy on Scyther and Urshifu on top lane, alone playing. But Walk played really well with his teammates. The way he assisted them, the way he played together, the way he was putting down Psyshock. And you can see, at all times throughout 8 minutes, or even if you want to put it to the 10-minute mark as well, because yes, we did see 8 to 10 minute, I would say, block start, but it was immediately put to a immediate footfall or a stop down or a stomp, if you want to say, because of how Marcos immediately took down Rayquaza.
Well, yes, exactly. And look at that. God's Reign had a brilliant start, I must say. You know, look at the graph. We can even see the graph that they were leading against Marcos. But after that, from the very 6th minute, everything looked like, everything looked like it was a downfall for God's Reign. It was a stoppage and there was no coming back from their point forward. And, you know, history being written already, in the hands of Marcos, already in the favor of Marcos. Yes, they've got the very first game. Even the choices that they made were not for the start. They were for the end of the game when they're all evaluated. And when it comes to the domination of Urshifu in the last minutes, you already saw it, right, Lucifer?
Yeah. This wing beat and crisscross as well coming in from Snowy that we constantly saw. It's just annoying. They couldn't do anything. And you could see again, Urshifu, you just spoke about it, alone. He was fighting with KL. And I feel like initially we see a lot from KL on the Sylveon. But later I felt like I never saw Sylveon at all. It kind of maybe hurted them because of how the entire gameplay which Godsrain might have thought about did not work, especially this. Yes, there was the Unite Psyshock coming through and the Psychic as well. 3 big moves coming in from Gardevoir itself, and on top of it, the other Pokemons also use their moves and attack to do a lot more damage, so there was nothing left. Scyther, who started, just ended up being a spark for the other team to immediately get the victory. So I think Scyther, a little bit of Scepter. On the Tyranitar, a little bit of a overextension very early on. Yes, understanding their position that they are far off from getting closer to a victory, that was a risky move which could have paid a lot to them if it worked out, if his teammates also jumped in together. But one thing that they did not think about is the Gardevoir Unite. I think that was the thing that was a make it or a break it. If that Unite did not come through, it could have been Godzilla and actually walking away as victors here in game 1.
Well, yes, exactly, and everything was changed, and when you talk about stopping Team Godsrain after the 6th minute, it all depended on the choice that Marcos Gaming made. Urshifu, Gardevoir, and Scyther coming up. Scyther, we have seen, it has been a meta throughout these, weeks, when we have seen Scyther, or even not evaluating to Scyther, you are a Scyther, you would still be able to, do the same amount of damage when you're against your opponent. So great work done from the side of Marcos Gaming. Kudos to them for winning the very first round, but now maintaining it and winning it with a 2-0, because we just saw how True Rippers did it against Revenant Esports. And we have a lot of expectations from the side of Marcos as well as Godsrain to make a comeback. And let's go to the next game.
Draft pick. We're going to be seeing what are the bans this time. For Godsrain's end, I'm pretty sure they'll maybe looking forward to denying Valk on Gardevoir, but if that is allowed, I know Valk loves to play it. He's going to be immediately picking it up again. And again, one more thing that Godsrain need to pay attention is how well Marcos is playing with Valk, making sure that he does not get knocked out. His Pokemon does not get fainted. They keep him alive at all times, making sure he's available in range whenever they're initiating a team fight coming through. Let's see the bans, and it's going to be a Sizer ban coming in from Godsrain. They're like, every Pokemon was something that you had to be worried about. If you talk about Urshifu, you talk about Sizer, you talk about Gardevoir. So they pick up Sizer, and on the other end, they ban for Marcos end, making sure that the long range Solar Beam or the Electric Ball is not there. Mew. But this time, Godsrain do not make anything in terms of a mistake in the choices. Urshifu is available to pick it right up from the get-go.
Oh, well, exactly, and it's going to be a Mew ban coming from the side of Marcos Gaming. Urshifu straightforward picked up. Godsrain not even thinking about once that, to drop Urshifu or not. Yes, they are going to have it. But then on the side of Marcos Gaming, you have a Valk and Curem going for Blissey while Valk goes in for Dodrio. Okay, so now that they have a Scyther ban, okay, let's see what is going to be their choice. For now, against an Urshifu, and Urshifu might not be my thinking for sure.
I'm not too sure what the other choices are going to be, but in terms of keeping the Speedster still alive, at least from a different side or a perspective. Previously it was Omen, this time it's going to be Valk. Again, Valk will not be playing with this, I would say, Dodrio. I think he's just picking it up for his teammate so that his teammate has the chance. But Omen, who I thought would pick up a Speedster, he's finally made a choice of none other than a range attacker. That's a Gardevoir, which Valk used to play, but Snowy. With 18 seconds left, I'm looking forward to what he makes as a choice. This time he does not have the Sizer or the Scyther to play. Urshifu is already picked up from Scepter, so he's like, I'm going to pick up the Queen or maybe a big Beast, which Godsrain had picked up previously. So Scepter gets Urshifu, so Snowy takes up Tyranitar.
Yes, with that, now that the lineups have been finally prepared, I'm way more excited to see how this lineup works out for the team. Okay, it would be another kind of, difference that we have made. Okay,
I want to say is like Walk. I'm a little bit surprised. I was not sure that Walk will be playing a speedster, but it looks like in the final preparation phase as well, Walk has not decided to change. I thought he would take up the Glaceon and give somebody else the Dodrio. It's going to be an interesting battle, as you said. I'm looking forward to what happens right now. God's Reign, are they going to open up their balance sheet or the league table scorecard right now? Or is it going to be Marcos closing it off?
Well, yes, exactly. And with that, let's begin. We are all ready and go. Let's set go. We start with the game number 2, where we are already having, a difference coming up. Marcos is already at a 1-game difference against Team God's Reign. A bit of a time to be taken now.
Yeah.
On to you, Lucifer.
We immediately have a quick pause. We'll be getting back into the game. Interesting choices made from both the sides. As we did see Urshifu that we talked about that was available, especially giving away a speedster as well from Omen, who waited for a long time and then chose up Gardevoir, which was Walk's choice, and then Walk not making a move into, I would say, the ranged attacker. I think it's a technical drop that one of the players had as we were starting the match, so we'll be getting back to the game, nothing to be worried about. But it has given us time to discuss. Now, one thing that I'm worried about for Marcos is they are bought themselves a slow bro, whereas it was on the other end previously, and Marcos, God's Reign had a tough time working around it. Divine, I've seen he's a very brilliant player. He plays on the defender as well as the supporter role. He plays on the, I would say, Mamoswine defense, which is very nice, just as we see Daksh, right, who played in match number 1 for True Rippers. That's a similar or even better performance for their team on God's Reign. This time Divine finally switches back, so I'm excited to see what God's Reign will be able to do. Will they be able to get back into the game? What do you think, Mridul?
Well, again, to talk about God's Reign right now, that Marcos have picked up the pace that they have and how they have been consistently performing, it would be more difficult for the side of God's Reign, but look at that. We have seen how True Rippers have performed in the Indian region when you talk about Pokemon UNITE India Open, and now that the performance that they've shown in the Asia Champions League. We begin with the game number 2. Marcos already leading. Let's begin. And the timer already started. God's Reign going forward. In the bottom lane, we do see that the Pokemons have guarded up the bottom lane, and the force goals being procured by Marcos Gaming.
Walk will not be able to run away. He's trying his best, but having that Ninetales is causing them trouble. But somehow making use of that speed, he's still trying to run. And now he should be getting an advantage that his, I would say, passive would be activated, but looking at the hits coming through, they did not give him a chance to run away, so he'll be sent back to base. Nothing to be worried about. Initially Marcos, yes, have control of it, but what Marcos are doing are even a bigger play. If the Gardevoir doesn't work for God's Reign, which they have sent to the mid lane, Marcos on the other end have already evolved their Eve to a Glaceon. That's the reason. I was for a second surprised that why isn't the Speedster going and leveling up and the mid lane. Their intention was not the Speedster to be leveled up. The Speedster will eventually evolve with goals being scored. Their intention was making sure the ranged attacker has a lot of damage dealing ability as it tries to use its attack. Maybe the shards coming through, whatever it is, spears coming through, they want to make sure that it is ready. Right now, Glaceon has gone in the top lane, because of which the bottom lane advantage completely taken from God's Reign. But Marcos on the other hand still have the lead in terms of the overall goal picture.
Well, yes, with that we start. Ooh.
Small nap.
Ooh, a small nap. At last it is so as it requires that, right? And we begin with God's Reign now taking up the power in their hands. They would be taking this scoreline to 71 to 53. Quite a mid lane disturbance coming up here as Kale, trying to get. Oh no, he won't be able to get the Pokemon for himself. Urshifu being unstoppable now. Marcos coming back to the bottom lane, whereas the top lane would be procured and saved out by God's Reign.
It's going back and forth right now. Talk about top lane or bottom lane, it's swinging, it's changing. Now Snowy is in a troublesome situation. Kyurem wanted to help, but understanding that there are players pushing him, especially the Urshifu itself, we know the attack which you can pump up, boost it, and immediately, I would say, take it is going to be a wicked blow, and that's the reason Kyurem wanted to back off. But now it's going to be Murem also coming into play, and Kyurem will be there to help him out, and you saw the icicle charge are already coming through, making sure it hurts a lot. But there are 3 players, therefore Urshifu will be able to back off, but they have to give up some kind of a player, and the Pokemon goes on. It's going to be Noxie, and they do lose a healer. In the meantime, the bottom lane gets pushed, and Marco is taking charge.
Well, yes, exactly. And right now, Lucifer, to talk about the bottom lane, Marcos Gaming looking great with the performance, and actually moving forward, they are able to deal the damage on Godray. Whereas when you talk about the amount of consistency that they're making, they also need to get a guard on Regirock. Yes, they would be taking it in their hands. We saw in the first game too that when they actually had those Regis for them, it worked out. And now focusing once again on getting those Regis, this time it would be God's Reign getting the Regiliki for themselves.
Now they did lose the Regi on bottom, and that's the reason God's Reign, understanding all the players from Marcos were on bottom, will quickly take Regieliki, but if they don't, as they were switching lanes, they would have come from Regieliki as well. But right now, a big Unite being used from Valk. Not too sure if it was a misclick because it didn't do any kind of hit. But right now with the drill pack coming through, he does damage, but Kyurem is the only one who will be able to help out. It was a 4v1 cluster situation. There was nothing he could do. Immediately runs away. Kyurem also starts backing off. His teammate Rex will help him out in that manner. Therefore, they do lose a player, but not any lane control. Back into the fight is going to be Scepter trying to go in for heavy hits, but a big Unite coming in from Omen, which pushes the players back. Along with that, a Psychic coming through, which delivers a knockout to another than the slow go, which gives them an opening. God's Reign immediately destroy the bottom lane goal zone, and now Marcos, they are looking forward to getting back in the game to deliver a knockout to send the players back home, along with Glaceon helping out. And you can see what God's Reign thought that they had got control in terms of was just for a second, and was also only to destroy the goal zone, not to take the lead away. And whoa, Volk coming again with a drill peck, another knockout. He's not stopping with his pecks.
Indeed, and the Dodio would be adding a lot for the side of Marcos Gaming, getting back-to-back that power, and the goal post now vanishes. Look at the destruction done by Marcos. Yes, they are at 225 points. They have maintained a great amount of consistency throughout this game, where they've stopped God's Reign whenever it was required. The Marcos Gaming once again coming back to the farming. They need the Unite moves, right? And with the Unite moves, everything would be going good for their side. Well, let's see what happens with the Regirock on the bottom lane, whereas Dodrio is busy adding those points back to back, bidding for the luck of Marcos Gaming. Here it comes!
Oh, Dodrio!
The KO streak by Urshifu! No one that we can beat that.
3 coming in from Murem as well. A brilliant Unite was from Valk, but the block on Divine was just brilliant. This is what I said. Divine is known to play a really good defense. Previously seeing on the slow I was not too sure, but right now you can see how well he's playing. But Murem is still causing trouble. Divine is left alone as his teammate falls, and now it looks like he'll also be knocked out and sent back to base. He's trying to run, but where will he run? There is no berries to heal also. Eventually he'll be caught, and now you can see he's just running. He's just buying time for survival and finding if there is a chance that he can go for a bush, but that is not at all happening. There is no way he's going to be respawning or going back to the base. But in the meantime, Snowy gets stuck, uses his Unite, trying to buy time as his teammate jumps in, and yes, Blissey comes in with egg, making sure he survives, but it does not work out for long. 3 people only fighting with 1. I think Kyurem should have fought alongside, but in the meantime the bottom lane is already pushed, and along with Valk playing like a monster, those beaks are piercing God's Reign right now. They're unable to hold Valk on that Dodrio, and everything that they're planning to do, it's just, I would say, trying to put a stop. Marcos having a 280 lead. There's nothing that God's Reign are able to get closer to even the goal zones.
Well, yes, exactly. The counter was amazing from the side of God's Reign, but not to leave Marcos behind. We know what they're capable of. The last 3 minutes, yes, it is going to be a real hard struggle, whereas they are available with the AO synergies, but the defense is also strong from the side of Marcos Gaming. God's Reign Scepter. Now, Urshifu, last of the minutes. it's all about what he does in the last minutes.
40 seconds for the final stretch, but before that, Scepter is running to the goal zone. There is the Tyranitar available, but Tyranitar will indulge in a fight in the mid lane, therefore will not have a chance to stop Scepter. A big 50 will be scored. A little too late to the party, Snowy, but I think he might be able to provide a knockout, send that player back, but before he could, the other reinforcements immediately jump in, and therefore Scepter will be able to survive. Snowy in the meantime with the Dark Pulse is trying to push everybody back, understanding that there is just 10 seconds left, but Divine, because of the heavy slam, he'll be able to immediately jump and get back to his own mid lane, but in the meantime it's like one ran away but not another, and immediately a knockout being delivered. Marcos are not stopping in any direction. Again you can see with the shards coming through. Walk, a risky move coming through. He even used his Unite to run away from the Pokemons, and he will be able to run away barely, but in the meantime look at what Marcos have done. Before God's Rain could get even closer to the legendary pit, Rayquaza is gone again, just like the previous game.
Yeah, the Rayquaza is gone. Marcos Gaming beating out Rayquaza like it's nothing for them. Once again coming out with the power and with the dominance from their side. They're present at the base. Each and every goalpost getting guarded by Marcos like it's their own base for their side. 700 is what we are going to touch. Not stopping yet. Scepter goes back to the base. The base is just 2 meters far away. 738, 766. Everything Marcos is doing right now. God's Rain lost it all. And now they're going to reach 800 points.
God's Rain don't have a base here. They're not even able to step out of their safety, I would say. That's all. That one goal zone, which is indestructible, is being, I would say, just used like a training ground for them as they're fighting with every Pokemon. I don't know Divine's thought here. He made use of his Unite as he stepped out with a power nap. Nothing, because there is a big level difference in at least 2 levels. 3 levels for a couple of Pokemons, and therefore it is looking unstoppable. Marcos are decided that with the next 20 seconds left, we want to reach 1000. There is no chance that God's Rain will be able to do anything.
Oh, are we going 1000?
Another 40 to score, and we'll be seeing 1000 coming up. But Marcos have decided that let them step out. We'll deliver knockout to them. Snowy is still surviving barely, but is still surviving. Noxy finally acts as a distraction, but with just 5 seconds to go and with the time up, Marcos clinch and drill their way as they're looking forward to another victory. What a play, Marcos. What a change in strategy, what a change in their own meta of how they play, and it looked indestructible coming in from Marcos's end.
Close, so close till the last 2 minutes. Lucifer, the scoreline was awesome, where we saw 319 to around 380 if I'm not wrong, and in the last 2 minutes 600 points coming up from the side of Marcos, all thanks to them getting the Rayquaza, and it might be a world record, or not a world record. They just required 10 seconds or like 5-6 seconds and the Rayquaza is all done.
Before God's Rain could place themselves right for the battle in the legendary pit of the mid lane, Marcos are like, which Rayquaza? Rayquaza didn't come this time. He didn't spawn. This was the final stretch which was in our favor. And how quickly did they take that Rayquaza down? Before we could look at it, right? The animation is there when Rayquaza spawns, that entire dragon dance, if you want to say, and sits in a spiral form. Before that spiral was complete, Marcos put it down. And Walk at all times, just like we saw in the first match today, on the Dodrio being a problem, true rippers of how they played, Walk played the same way. He was available in any direction, and then Murim to capitalize. And I think that combo worked out, becoming a very deadly one here for God's Rain. They were unable to do anything. At least till the 6-minute mark, God's Rain looked like, yes, they are into the game. You can see, make it till the 8th minute. They look like they are in the game. But what happened at the final stretch was they were nowhere close to this mid lane, and a big advantage that Marcos took was, let's take Rayquaza, and after that a big level difference was there, brother.
Well, yes, exactly. To correct myself, it was 219 to 280. A 700 climb for Marcos it was. To talk about the points getting added by the side of God's Reign, yes, Ninetales was somehow a good counter for Tyranitar, if I say, but again, even after having those counters, even after having that Urshifu, Marcos had it all written. A great game from their side, and look at the destruction they have done in the last 2 minutes. Also, a good start from their side, I must say. From the 2 to the 4 minute stretch, they added a lot of consistent points for themselves.
Yeah. Marcos unstoppable from every minute, 2 minutes to 10 minutes. You can see they just kept scoring, especially the final stretch. They were the ones in command. But one thing that I think God's Reign, how they wanted to play, having the Gardevoir, they had to understand, right? Making sure that Gardevoir is leveled up, making sure Gardevoir is ready for every fight. Ranged attack is always there, but Marcos, they denied that from happening. Just like we talked about Sylveon in the first game of God's Reign, in this game you can see it was felt like Gardevoir was nowhere at all times. Gardevoir was just being sent back to the base, knockout one after another. Man, oh man, utter destruction. There was nothing else that we could see that God's Reign were able to kind of get a hold of. They were just being pushed off from every chance, every fight. And look at this. This is like Rayquaza has already been taken and then God's Reign are trying to react. And I think, as we spoke about it, right? Keeping Walk on the Dodrio on a situation that he's already fighting. Whereas on the other end, making sure that their Glaceon is leveled up to such a battle that at any time whenever it's facing any Pokemons from the opponent's end, it's always a bigger level up. I think that's why that Wombo combo, if you want to generally when we see, right, it worked out really well. The combo attacks coming through very well planned, and I think the communication between the players of Marcos looked, I would end up saying it effortless, because that's how well they were communicating. They're like, I'm doing this, or maybe this. I know we couldn't hear the comms, but it looked like they didn't have to be worried about their comms. They had to be just playing together, and each other knew what they had to do, and they played so well in terms of tandem and complemented each other.
With a lot of accuracy and clarity that Marcos shown in their play, I must talk about God's Reign that they the strategies that they come up with. It was some good tackles that they had against the choices of Marcos Gaming, and going with the game, it looked so brilliant till the last 8 minutes. It was just a difference of around 61 points, if I'm not wrong, and having a difference of 61 points, that can be covered by a single Pokemon having a scoreline procured. But again, when you talk about getting that Rayquaza in 8 seconds, surrender to him.
Yeah, man, that was just insane. Before I could see the time or what happened, where did Rayquaza? It's gone.
Yeah.
Disappeared. God's Reign, they have one more match, and it looks like their position is going to be at the 5th. But finally, with Marcos getting themselves another victory here on week 3, they will be putting themselves in the 2nd spot and pushing Revenant and SATL to the 3rd spot. As of now, this week does come to an end where Revenant and SATL will be looking forward to jumping back into the game. But after Revenant facing a loss, as well as SATL facing one loss, it's going to be very interesting of how things spin from here, right? Because Revenant has a chance to win and also lose. And because of that, the positions might also change. We end up seeing one of these two teams itself getting pushed to the 4th. In this entire, I would say, overall Asia Champions League, right, Mrudal? Two teams. True Rippers never got a chance to jump to the LAN, and Marcos on the other end were the first team to be going back. And both these teams are functioning so well here, nobody else has a chance.
Exactly, and this is where the tables have turned. The time where they have to perform for their nation, for their country in the Asian region, they are doing it well. For now, they're amongst themselves, they're among their competitors which are there to represent the country. A great performance from Marcos Gaming and True Rippers indeed, and to say it out, great work, all done, all set for the next stage. I must say that True Rippers, well, let's see who can beat them.
True Rippers and Marcos is going to be an interesting one. For now, beating True Rippers was Marcos, and now I'm looking forward to who's going to be able to knock out or feint or whatever you call it, beat the players of Marcos. They are the ones who are looking tough. Now, without a fight, none of the teams have gone away. You saw even Godsrain were looking so well ready, but it was just, I would say, Marcos, as we did say, the clarity, as you mentioned, was just brilliant in terms of what they wanted to do. The picture was so good, and how well, I would say, that combination of Walk being on the speedster and then Murem playing all around the map whenever his teammates need him, whether there was a top lane push coming through, whether there was a bottom lane push happening, or in case one of the Pokemons from Marcos's end fainted and was sent back to the base, the other players immediately pushed to that same spot.
Correct.
And caused trouble to the players of Godsrain. So Godsrain, who thought they created a breather or made sure that it became weak, it was denied. And that's the reason Marcos won it really, really well. And we also have Walk here back on the desk with us. We'll jump for a quick interview with him after winning the second match here in the Asia Champions League. Walk, welcome back. Congratulations once again, Walk.
Hello.
Happy to see you.
Thank you.
And
how are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Walk, how are you doing? I want to ask you, after playing the Dodrio, I was surprised on the disc. I was talking about, wait, Walk?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of happened. We didn't want to give our opponents Dodrio because they're too comfortable on that. So I was like, let's just play it ourselves.
I thought so. I was thinking that at least in the preparation phase you will switch it up, give it to one of your teammates, and then this Walk is still playing it. This is going to be interesting. And I think the combo that you, Murem, as well as you played with Dodrio and Glaceon worked out very well, Walk. Congratulations.
Well, yes, exactly. Well, I have a question in my mind, Walk. How come you're able to get that Rayquaza so fast? What is your strategy for that? Like, it's like we see Rayquaza and it's gone already.
Game 1, they just flipped. Like, I mean, we were like, we'll zone them, but they just went in the pit and they flipped. And then game 2, I was like, I'm gonna mess around, buy time, and then our guys was like, let's just press all the buttons on the Rayquaza. So I think that's what they did, and then we got it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, before here on the desk, I mean, when we were seeing the game, we were like, Rayquaza just spawned, it's the final stretch. There's no Rayquaza. It was like, it was in the animation and it's gone. That's how fast you guys play. And I really like how Marcos is coming up. So what are the next plans that you're right now in the league stage? There is True Rippers who are on top right now. Do you want to take them down and get all the points for yourselves and become the first seed?
I mean, that's the plan. So that is what we want to do. And next week we're going to be facing against the next two teams we face are going to be very challenging opponents for us. So excited for those games.
Wishing you all the best with all the games, because we are excited to see you guys go on the big leagues. Congratulations once again, Walk. Looking forward to catching you again on the desk. It's become a usual for us now. All the best to the entire team.
Yep. Have a good day.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, you see, they had strategies planned, but once they understood that they're not seeing the players anywhere nearby, their opponents nearby, they're like, let's just take it. We have free access to it. Who wants to give away the free access, right?
Well, yes. Yeah. Agreed. And, the strategy that he discussed was buying time and focusing on only one Pokemon. We saw how Slowbro took it for himself, and that is how you buy the time. They bought the time from Godsrain, and after that it was 4 Pokemon doing the job, 4 trainers doing their job, and it was all done. So great strategy from their side that they're able to gather the attention whenever they want from the opponent team.
Yeah, I think Godsrain were today on a situation that they had to be reactive. They came to a situation where they were proactive, but Marcos were able to break them down. Same thing happened in match 1 as well of today. True Rippers, when they fought against Revenant, it was True Rippers looking in command. Revenant in between on the 2 and the 4 minute mark and 6 minute mark looked like they were getting back into the groove, but True Rippers were able to immediately switch back up. But in game 2 was the eye opener, where it looked like, oh, Revenant are back in the groove, we are going for game 3. I had thought about it, and when there was 40 seconds left, and as we talked with Daksh as well, he mentioned, we saw the opening, we understood that there is time, and we immediately decided to, I would say, get back into the fight rather than giving it up. Understanding Rayquaza has also not been taken, they immediately jumped back into the fight and took advantage of it. Especially I think having their Unites also played really, really well, because Revenant didn't give them a chance to use that. Revenant used their own, and then Revenant, when they wanted to kind of get back into the fight, they had nothing. Here Marcos did that. Marcos, they never left an opportunity. You could see Walk as he said, right, knowing that Dodrio is available for picking, making sure that they don't get a chance to pick it up, denied. And that's the reason Volk immediately picked it up. And then understanding that he's already picked it up, let's just make use of it. And using his Unite, used it thrice, and at all times it hit and did damage to Pokemons around for anybody in from the side of God's Reign here.
Well, yes, exactly. It was indeed a great performance from the side of Marcos Gaming. How well they were available with their strategies against Team God's Reign. And today we saw in this week that Marcos Gaming and True Ripples now having that pace, now having that lead. It looks like that they have their journey already set for the stage 2. But then again, there are some more games remaining. To talk about each and everything, Lucifer, we're all set to actually be in the next week, and let's wait for it.
For our viewers, in case you still have thoughts of what's happening and what the entire tournament in terms of the matches of the other regions as well, there is a link which you can click on and get more information about. So head over there for all the details about the East Asia, Southeast Asia, India you're watching, and on every Sunday you can get back here and watch and see what's happening in terms of the action and which teams you can expect. Again, letting our viewers know this is the first stage. You're looking at a couple of teams who are looking brilliant, but there is still stage 2 where they'll be playing on the playoff stage where they will have a chance to get back in, but that will be elimination. But for now, for today of week 3 or day 3 you want to say it, for the India region, we're going to be saying bye, but telling you we'll be coming back with a lot more action for week 4. Take care and see ya.